Hey, Laura Schwam here, and I decided to just jump on to do a Rock You Like a Hurricane live stream down here in St. Augustine, Florida, where we have a hurricane going on. Thankfully, I'm in a safe place. So if the internet gets a little iffy, I just want you guys to know it's just because that there's a hurricane going on outside. But I was going stir crazy, and I did a live stream last night, but I had to delete it because only half of it recorded. So, anyway, for those of you that are new to the channel, this is a strictly only Virgo channel. Cross watchers are more than welcome always to jump on and to listen and to interpret the messages as best as they resonate with you. Know that energy is fluid, so roles may be reversed. You may have to flip it, switch it, twist it. Again, interpret the message as it best resonates for you. Anything that you need to know about the channel, you can find in the description box down below, such as how to book a personal reading, how to find out about my other subscriptions, my Patreon account, and what else? I think my merchandise and a lot of other things. Again, you can find that in the description box down below. Again, those of you that are new to the channel, this is a strictly only Virgo channel, but if you're looking for other card placements, you can go to my Psychic Soul Healer Oracle channel. And again, that's Psychic Soul Healer channel. And there you can find any zodiac placement. Okay. Now, what makes me different opposed to other readers is I always like to open up my readings looking at the karmic lessons, the spiritual blocks, the energy imbalances within your situation, because every relationship is karmic. If you've chosen to be with someone or someone comes into your life that you feel like you have an energetic connection to, meaning this person feels like home automatically, and there's a sense of unconditional love right away, and regardless of what this person does, then that's a spiritual relationship. It would be considered a divine relationship because our spiritual lessons are all about growing. It's all about evolving into higher states of consciousness. We're evolving out of a state of fear into a place of love. And so there is the collective that's also going through this. And then there's us again. So the first card out, because like I said, I'm going to look at the spiritual blocks first. And this card just popped out. You can see it's prudence. And prudence is all about thinking about the future. It's a caring a lot about the future, focusing a lot about the future. And I think that there's a lot of people that are kind of focusing a lot about the future right now. And it's mainly because of what we're seeing externally. And this is bad because you never want to base your decisions on what you perceive. You want to base it on what you know. So even though I say, again, there's prudence, and prudence is normally caring about the future, there's an energy here again. And I know, Virgo, you may be thinking a lot about your future. And maybe, again, because you were on some level connected to someone that didn't treat you very well. There's a sense of that when we see tactlessness, it comes out in people's character. So we're talking about soulmate, or if we're even talking about any relationship and we see this card tactlessness, it means that, again, there's energy that is negative, it's low. What is tactlessness? Well, someone that lies, someone that's only concerned about themselves, someone, again, that's of a lower consciousness, which obviously does not go with prudence. Again, right? That's opposite energy right there. So we tend to see this a lot of times unfold within our relationships. How many times does your heart and your head argue? Right? You know that a person's bad for you, but then on some level you're like, but I have a connection. It's like, again, the two things don't go. And sometimes we know this, so that tells us already that there is a soulmate type of relationship. And again, when we see nervousness, right? So these type of relationships do create a lot of nervousness. So Virgo, we're just looking at the spiritual blocks right away to look at your situation, because it's going to determine what the karmic lesson is. And if we know what the karmic lesson is, then we can again create better awareness for ourselves and maybe do something different to get a different outcome, because this isn't a good outcome. This is almost where we feel like we're in a relationship with someone, or we are connected to someone that we love, but it also goes against, they go against who we want to represent ourselves to be, right? I mean, it's someone that if you're thinking about the future, and that's maybe creating stability within your life, and that's being in a healthy relationship where someone can show up for you on an emotional level. But a person again is tactlessness, because they only think about themselves, right? They're stuck in their own emotional needs. So whenever you wind up asking for it, there's always going to be a problem. It's again, that's how tactlessness plays out a lot of times. And it creates then where you're then nervous to ask. So this is how you begin to be conditioned into feeling like you can't be in a healthy, balanced relationship. Now, this also might have been karmic, where you grew up in a family where you saw one of your parents again with someone that didn't treat them so well. So it's again, that could be an inherited trauma, and now it's playing out as you're now in a relationship that's very codependent. So we want to look at what's going on within more spiritual imbalances, and then we're going to go into the soulmate twin flame reading. Because again, soulmate twin flame relationships are all about that you're getting someone that has the same imbalances that you do, meaning the same traumas, same psychological traumas, emotional traumas. See, emotional and mental traumas are spiritual. That's what again a spiritual wound is. It's energetic, but it's a combination of your thoughts and your emotions that are like in a dissonance to who you are, meaning they go against who you are. Again, and who you are is you're a person of God. You're a person born of God because God made you in his image. So you have all his powers, including his consciousness. You're down here in physical form to learn that you're not separate from this consciousness, but you get experiences through your relationships. And what better relationship than a soulmate twin flame relationship? Why? Because this person, there's unconditional love for this person. They feel like home on one hand, but on another hand, they trigger you. It's again, they draw out every wound that you have to make you look at it, because there's no separation from God, which is unconditional love. And the unconditional love for this connection, again, a soulmate twin flame relationship, is one that's actually going to make you or anyone that is in a soulmate twin flame relationship sit there and look at their wounds. Again, because you want to make it work with this person. There's an intense love, there's an intense connection, and there's a higher purpose in this divine connection. So, but understand, many times it starts off where one person cares all about the future and is giving and is giving and is giving and knows that this person is a soulmate twin flame relationship. And then you got another person on there that again doesn't really know, wants to be a runner, wants to be a chaser, doesn't want to care about anyone else's feelings, doesn't want to care about, and it creates so much tension and anxiety within the relationship for both parties, because the chaser doesn't really want to be yelled at and screamed at and questioned. Again, it makes them feel smothered. And the person that's giving doesn't want to feel abandoned all the time. But these are the karmic lessons. Again, karmic wound can be abandonment, and the other wound is um, like again feeling smothered, feeling controlled, feeling again that they are not allowed to have their identity. So because again smothered, so again attached, and this is always what happens when we see a soulmate twin flame relationship attached. But when I see this, it's like codependent. It's like there's a need here, right? There's a need, and there should never be a need to feel attached to someone. We're not supposed to need a person. But when we are in an imbalanced soulmate twin flame relationship, there is always the runner again and the chaser, but the chaser tends to always feel like they need. There's a very attachment. And the reason why is again because there's abandonment issues. So when there's abandonment issues on both parties, again, both parties are incarnated into families where that karmic theme plays out. And that trauma now is playing out within this relationship, within this soulmate twin flame relationship, as a codependent relationship, which also creates a lot of anxiety and fear because no one can be anyone's perfect. So this is big time trauma. And then this is deceiving. Why? Because as I was saying, no one can be someone's full perfect all the time. And when we're in a codependent relationship and we really feel attached to the person, then after a while, we really can't be that person, right? So, because if a relationship starts off in balance, where you have two imbalanced people, which you do here, because it's a soulmate twin flame relationship that is playing out more like a trauma bond, but trauma bonds are soulmate twin flame relationships. It's just on a different level because every relationship is karmic, which means learn. So it's just the level of consciousness of a trauma bond, meaning those people have not evolved high enough to transmute that energy. And the law of transmutation is that you can't just take negative energy and dispose of it. The negative energy that we have in our body we can't just get rid of it. It doesn't just dissipate. We have to integrate it in order to transmute it. So your soulmate twin flame relationships, once they evolve into a higher state of consciousness, of unconditional love, they learn to transmute that energy, usually by creating something together. This soulmate twin flame relationship is not evolved enough. And I don't know whether it's because it's you, Virgo, your person, or both you. But I'm kind of feeling like you, Virgo, is at a higher level of consciousness, but you still have a lot of fear and there's still a lot of attachment to your person, is what I'm feeling. Okay. But understand, this is a karmic connection where after a while, the person is not going to be honest or true because, again, the codependency is where you feel that that person or your person, again, both parties actually have something that the other person wants and doesn't believe that they can obtain or become themselves. So when they get into a relationship where they become so attached, then over time, like I said, no one can be anyone's perfect. And when you see like two cards of like tactlessness and deceiving, well, deceiving is tactlessness. It's again, it's lying. And that's what I was saying. So this is it's not evolved, this relationship. So it's going to have a hard time moving forward. Okay, distracted. So, and what happens to when we're in this type of relationship where obviously a person's not giving us what we need, if they're busy deceiving us and there's tactless energy, then we know that there's usually third parties over time. There's usually one person doesn't know what they want. But then what happens is if you're in a relationship with that person that's the runner, you become distracted, meaning you no longer are present because the trauma response of not really knowing what to do and having all these different emotions. This is like a tough read because And we've all experienced it. It's again, and this happens from growing up in a very in a codependent family. Again, maybe your mother and father were codependent, but understand when there's severe codependency, then there's addictions a lot of times too. People are not just dependent on people, because over time, the marriage or that person that you're leaning on can only take so much, and there's consequences, and it creates a lot of trauma and drama within the relationship. So let's see the hidden truths. We will be together again. So again, it's not uncommon for these relationships to go back and forth, back and forth. And that's an issue too, because when we have attachment, there's a sense of ownership. There's a sense that it doesn't matter what the person does. It doesn't matter how much abuse they put us through, because in a roundabout way, we kind of know that we're still going to be with that person. It's like, and even though we're more focused on being with that person than looking at the fact that they're deceiving us and that we're no longer present in our body because we're so nervous and focused on the relationship, we've abandoned ourselves. So if that happens, then you can forget about your future. It's like that goes against creating a sound and balanced future. But people don't understand how, when they get into a soulmate twin flame relationship, or just that relationship that they really felt that connection to, how it played out while now they don't have anything, or why they all of a sudden feel like they have a hole in their chest once again that person is no longer in their life, which eventually, even though we see this energy, there's a sense that we'll never figure out and get to the root problem, because this is the way that we deal with things. We leave, we come back. We leave, we come back. But then there's a sense of abandonment. There's a sense of trust issues. There's a sense of intimacy issues, and that will affect bedroom issues. Okay, if you don't trust who you're with, you're not going to be able to fuck the person that you want to be with over time. It's like you would be paranoid. It would create trauma. So even though, and it says you don't know how hard it was to let you go. So I think, again, there's a lot of games that go on, and there's a lot of fighting with the mind and the heart in this type of relationship, because on one level, you're codependent to this person, but on another level, you've outgrown this person. So this is a really uncomfortable place to be, because it's like, well, and then we lie to ourselves, like, well, we'll be together again, meaning I can have that person back again. But then your person is never respecting you, Virgo. It's like, because on some level, and it doesn't mean that they don't love you. What it means is that you are conditioning them, you are training them not to treat you well. So I don't know whether you are in a relationship where, again, it's a soulmate twin flame relationship where you're worried about your future, and you should be, because on some level, spiritually, you know that this attachment is not healthy. You know it's not healthy because it distracts you from life. And why? Because you're always being deceived, and you know it because that's an intuitive thing. Okay. And when you're always walking around nervous, because again, the person is not considering your needs. And so the other person just deals with it like this is just the type of relationship that we have. Well, we will be together again. This happens all the time. Again, codependent relationships, soulmate twin flame relationship, where again, it's not on a high enough vibration. It's like, you don't know how hard it was to let you go, of course, because one person has invested so much time and energy in trying to become what the other person wants. And this is how, again, that one person winds up having a hole in their heart when the relationship doesn't work out, because they've given so much to the relationship. Now, I don't know if this is you, Virgo, but this is a very typical, again, we would classify this underneath the trauma bond, because the trauma would be abandonment and betrayal. And so understand betrayal from a parent could just be abandonment, that you might have needed a parent to be there at a particular time and they weren't there. And that trauma is held within your subconscious mind, is playing out within this relationship. And so the karmic theme is not to abandon yourself. That no, that's one more from this one. I want to tell you how I feel. It's again, this is actually good. If we get to a place of communication, then where we can feel fit it where we can have a conversation and feel safe without being judged, that would be very healing. The problem is a lot of times if the person has acted this way, then it's hard to not have judgment and it's hard to not be triggered. But the spiritual lesson would be for you not to get triggered and not to take it personally. So let me just look at, okay, savior. So it's again, maybe, again, not uncommon. If we're seeing that this was a codependent relationship and there was attachment, then there always is one person that's the savior, that's trying to come in perfect, that's trying to fix everything and be perfect person's everything, and no one can be a person's everything. So I just want to look and see what your persons might have some messages for you, how they feel. Again, because right now, from what I see, it's like, I don't feel you're together with this person for this particular reason. It's again why it says, we will be together again. It's again that there's this knowing, like almost like you're on a break is what I feel like. And though it may be longer break, if there's a sense of both parties know down deep inside that it's not over. Okay. And that, but was hard. And I think, Virgo, that you're the person that's saying, I have to let you go, but it's really hard. So you've walked away, but you're still holding on, like your heart chakra. And I think that both parties really want to tell each other how they feel. And I think one person has to really share how they feel, because the runner that's always gone away, I think, is the one that's really being affected. I'm not saying that you're not, Virgo, but what I'm saying is, it's again that somebody hasn't had invested and really didn't do anything wrong. And if this is a soulmate twin flame relationship, then what is healing is that unconditional love. When a person walks away, they're forced to think about what they did if you remove yourself out of their life. And that's what I'm feeling is happening right now, that you've removed yourself out of someone's life because it was very unhealthy. And it was unhealthy because they were always kind of triggering you. So it's I'm better person because of you. You inspire me to heal and grow from the past experiences. Again, soulmate twin flame relationships. Why I just said these relationships are all about healing, growing, transformation. Again, you're down here to learn. You're not separate from God. God is just unconditional love. Our shadow parts of ourselves make us feel separate from love, from God. There is no separation. Our soulmate twin flames come into our life to hold up a mirror of all our wounds, but they have the same wounds that we do. They draw those wounds out of us as we do to them. There's intense triggers, but there's also this intense unconditional love, and we know that unconditional love always wins. That's again, we can't control it. That's why, again, all the songs are about I'm going crazy, like it's witchcraft, like you're possessed because you can't control love, and love is the only energy that cannot be manipulated, can't be distorted, it can't be owned. It's not about expectations, it just is. It's the strongest energy because it can be real soft. So again, and that's what we're learning. We're learning all these different layers of unconditional love and what they look like and how they play out through our experiences. And nothing like a twin flame soulmate relationship that does that to us, right? You are an angel in my life, and I want to be one in yours. No one gets me like you do. Again, soulmate twin flame relationship. It's again how this person truly feels. So again, soulmate twin flame relationships, a lot of times when this experience is they play out as undesirable life experiences. And then we say, but I love this person. Why did it play out as undesirable life experiences? So again, it makes us look at ourselves. But the person that we're, again, so inspired by is our soulmate twin flame. They're our muse a lot of times. They inspire us. They bring out the best in us when they are vibing at a high enough vibration. Because remember, they're divine relationships brought together by spirit to help each other transmute these negative energies which are held from the traumas, the psychological and the emotional aspects of ourselves that have kept us locked in these limited perceptions of ourselves, creating and recreating the same undesirable life experiences. So there's a part of every soulmate twin flame that is terrified of saying, am I inadequate? Is there something wrong? Is there something wrong with this relationship? Is there something wrong with me? It always makes us feel, but we're supposed to transcend those limited mindsets because that person, soulmate twin flame, didn't come into your life to to give you that. That was there before them. They came in to make you aware, but they also come into our life to inspire us, to teach us. And we're so crazy about them, we stick around long enough that it makes us look at our wounds because we want to deal with them. We want to love them. We want them in our life. And if we don't heal what we need to heal, a lot of times they can't stay in our life because we get triggered to the point that they can't. So one more, I don't know if I can live up to your image of me. I'm afraid that I won't be good enough for you. So again, very common with, again, soulmate twin flame relationships because most are incarnated with abandonment. So again, if you don't abandon yourself, your soulmate twin flame will never abandon you. Problem comes into play when the relationship is tumultuous and both parties are continuously triggering each other. Then what happens is we wind up abandoning ourselves. And we can sabotage ourselves too, because again, there's emotional highs and lows within these paradoxical relationships. So these relationships are all about healing and evolution meaning learning that you're not separate from God, learning again how to transcend your spiritual wounds. So I just want to pull, like, what can we expect? What is the best healing advice? Because right now what we see is again that was a lower vibe relationship, but there is a whole lot of unconditional love. And I do feel that this relationship, Virgo, is going to transcend itself. The reason why is because, look, I want to tell you how I feel. Usually, again, soulmate twin flame relationship, one person has a really hard time expressing themselves emotionally. Again, usually they grew up in a place where they weren't allowed to express themselves. And so being able to be vulnerable and share what again is triggering is going to heal this relationship a lot. It's again where if this person doesn't communicate, then what will happen is this relationship will not be able to transcend itself. But what I do see is that it's going to transcend. Doesn't mean that it's not going to need more healing, but it's going to be able to get to a place where there's communication, where the person isn't continuously running away and ghosting, which is what I kind of feel like was going on prior. And so to deal with it, balance spirituality and practicality. So again, I would take that as this is a difficult relationship, soulmate twin flame relationship. And it's teaching you how to balance yourself, right? Balance your body, mind, spirit, especially the emotions. When we're talking about spiritual, we're talking about mental and spiritual, mental and emotional, rather, to balance the spiritual. And that's only to direct your energy on where you want to go and what you want to do, but also to learn not to take things personally. also to become the witness of what is triggering you within your relationship. And again, practicality is not expecting this person to change overnight just because they're with you. It's again, people are creatures of habit. You're getting someone that is going to draw out your wounds if it's a soulmate twin flame relationship. They have come into your life to help you transcend your mind and your heart so you can come up to a place of the highest level of consciousness that you could possibly come up to. That cannot happen unless you balance yourself. So, balance is first getting a better connection to your body, being in the present moment. It's again, if I'm not grounded, I'm going to be triggered and then I'm going to react from the way I've always reacted, which that's a condition many times. And you don't want to react from a trauma response. You won't get a good result. You want to, again, come from a balanced place. And that all the time comes from grounding, not taking it personally, and again, having a practical approach to not just how you deal with your own stress in this relationship, but like looking at your person and realizing again, if they keep triggering you, it's not because they want to. It's a lot of times because the more that you'll yell at them, the more that there's expectation, the more that that person just freezes and responds from an automatic response. Again, this is what happens when we go out of consciousness. Trauma does that. We go in and out of consciousness. And if we react from a place where there was trauma, what you're going to do is you're going to sabotage yourself. You're going to create psychological reversal where you sabotage yourself. So this is why the message is what it is. This is a difficult relationship because both parties need healing. And we wouldn't be able to heal because we never look at ourselves long enough. Love makes us do that. And conclusions are within reach. So I feel like conclusion is just the end of, it's the end. A lot of times when we learn the spiritual lesson, where there's no more attachment to this person. Know that. A lot of times that is a spiritual message. That is again, or is the conclusion to this level of consciousness within this relationship. We again, relationships either evolve or they die. They either grow or they die. So it's again, I feel like you guys go to the next level, Virgo, but again, it doesn't mean, and when I say the next level, it's again, go to a higher level of commitment where this person is no longer ghosting you, but maybe they're a friend. Again, maybe they're a, you're dating, but it's going to be purely up to you how you train this person, how you want to be treated. And that's how you're treating yourself because remember, they're not on your level of consciousness. So again, doesn't mean that they would purposely not be treating you the way that that you deserve. It's because they haven't been with anyone on your level of consciousness. They only know codependent relationships where the other person is that savior for them. Remember, that means the other person was doing for them. So they weren't looking at how they treated you. So you know that they've never looked at how they've treated other people. Again, there was never a sense of really losing you. Again, that they kind of conditioned this relationship through continually triggers and lying, gaslighting. Again, this person was a manipulator. So remember, now that they've changed doesn't mean, again, that meaning that they've changed because they see, I want to tell you how I feel, that you're important to me, like you're an angel in my life. I know that you're supposed to be in my life. You don't know how hard it was to let you go. There was a sense of actually once you're gone, the feeling of loss, which is going to make this person come back to talk to you again, but they still don't know how to treat you. So because it's again, all they did was leave and realize what they did was wrong. So it's going to be up to you to set the boundaries is what I am getting at, because This soulmate twin flame relationship is karmic. A lot of lessons. Very difficult reading because it's a very difficult type of relationship where you have two people that need healing and one person a lot more than another, not on the same vibration, meaning the character is different. When a person's on a unconditional love, that vibration, they're at the highest vibration. This one person was coming from again, a manipulative, deceiving, creating a lot of nervousness and tactlessness again, and it was the attachment. So even if you weren't Virgo, again, the attachment to this person again was bringing down your vibe. So you had to again end this relationship because it wasn't on fair ground. It was really out of balance. Now, I'm going to end this and wind it down. If you happen to see this live stream and didn't catch it while I was live, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you resonated with it. Let me know what healing you may need. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment the word healer in the description box along with whatever other comment, again, about the live stream, about the video, about what healing you may need, and subscribe to the channel. And you can win a free psychic reading. I'm going to be doing more live streams more and more often. We're almost monetized, people. We're up to 900. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will be on again tomorrow. Peace out. Bye-bye.